I am joined with Jason, who is a local Bigfoot expert, I like to call him, and a Bigfoot enthusiast. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm living the dream. And just to correct you on that, there are no Bigfoot experts out there. There are guys like me who like to go out and investigate and enthusiasts, but by no means are there experts in the field. We're all out there learning together.
Well, some people dropped your name and said I should talk to you, so now I'm talking to you. So let's talk a little bit about how you got involved with searching for Bigfoot.
All right. Ever since I was a little kid, I was highly interested in the subject. I remember being in fourth and fifth grade, getting a Bigfoot book out of the school library, always watching the documentaries and shows on History Channel and Travel Channel. And then, God, it had to be about 10 years ago, the show Finding Bigfoot came out. And I'm like, oh my God, people actually go out and do this. And this is how they investigate and, look for this subject. So a friend of mine pointed out a local upstart group that just got going in the area. And I got involved with those guys and ran with those guys for a couple months. And me and one of the other investigators on the team decided we were going to branch out on our own. And in November of 2013, we formed Pennsylvania Bigfoot Investigations. And for, just about 7 years, up until recently, we performed investigations throughout Pennsylvania, mostly here in eastern and northeastern Pennsylvania. And over that 7 years, we did over 80 investigations in the local area, took eyewitness accounts, met with those witnesses, performed investigations on our own, and really got to do a lot of cool things.
So, as far as Bigfoot is concerned in Pennsylvania, what can you tell me about the history of this creature in our local area?
Bigfoot sightings go back to Native Americans. They had, I forget how many different names for Bigfoot-like creatures. They had drawings on their cave walls of Bigfoot-like creatures, and newspaper articles depicting Bigfoot-like creatures, what they called back then wildmen, went back as far as the 1800s. And so the Bigfoot phenomenon has always been, very much so here in Pennsylvania. And just last year, Pennsylvania got ranked third in the entire country as far as Bigfoot sightings go.
Wow, I did not know that. But thinking back to my own experiences, I've never had a Bigfoot experience, but I spent a lot of time in the woods. We'll say, especially in high school and a little bit of college. The usual thing northeastern Pennsylvania people do: camping and drinking at barrels in the woods. I'll be honest,
Yeah.
partying
Oh,
in the
yeah.
woods. There were some people I knew that claimed to see stuff in the woods that they couldn't explain.
And you know what? It's funny you mentioned that. We get a lot of stories, or when the group was still up and running, we got a lot of stories like that, to where in their childhood or in their earlier years out hunting, these people had experiences and kind of wrote it off as nothing or an oddball thing. And they began to follow our Facebook page and follow along with our investigations and the videos we posted and the interviews we did. And they go, what you talk about, a lot of it makes sense to what I experienced or what I found in the woods at that time. So I really think 20, 30, 40 years ago, I had a Bigfoot experience.
So let's discuss what exactly is Bigfoot. As far as you're concerned, what do you think this creature is?
As far as I'm concerned, I believe it's a flesh and blood creature. Way back in the day, you had the land bridge coming across into North America, and there was this giant ape back then, Gigantopithecus, and Gigantopithecus came across this land bridge, potentially intermated with early human-type species, and created this subspecies that we know now as Bigfoot. And of course, over the hundreds of years, just like humans, it's evolved over time. And as far as Bigfoot stuff goes, there's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down with people claiming they're, interdimensional, they're paranormal. People say, oh, I seen them come out of a portal. good for everybody who has their own theories. My theory is flesh and blood, very intelligent type creature that lives remotely in the woods, is basically trained to stay hidden. But I'm open to many suggestions, and but until I personally have that experience, to me, they're a flesh and blood creature who, is the reigning hide and seek champion, or in this day and age, the world social distancing champion.
Very, very good. Well, what have you found, and what has your team found in any of the investigations that you've done?
We've basically had every experience, but actually seeing one in person. We found footprints. We have footprint castings. Gotten growled at. We've gotten a stick thrown at us. The one time another team member and myself actually had about a 7 or 8 minute wood knock interaction with one.
There's evidence, even without seeing one in the flesh, but there are videos. Am I correct that there are videos
Right.
that showcase this creature?
Right. And a lot of the videos you need to be careful with, and you kind of got to take it with an approach of, I need to debunk this first before I give it a credible label that it could be a Bigfoot creature. I mean, one of the best local videos out there, I don't know if you ever seen it. It came out of the Carbondale area a couple years ago, maybe circa 2010. It was of a albino Bigfoot. And it was this very crazy video. And I guess the story behind it was a guy had heard something out in the woods behind his house in the Carbondale area, and went out there with the flashlight and a video camera and came upon this creature. The creature made eye contact with it, turned, and took off like a banshee out of hell into the woods. And a lot of people on YouTube have done breakdowns of this video, and you could actually see muscle movement in the face, muscle movement in the lips. You could see the eyes blink on it. And I don't think anybody out of Carbondale would be able to pull off a prank like that,
Not saying anything bad about Carbondale.
Not saying anything bad about Carbondale, but, to be able to piece this together. And the crazy part is the person who filmed this, has never come forward to take credit, has never, tried to get their 5 seconds of fame. That's kind of remained this anonymous video on YouTube that's kind of gotten broken down and shared within the Bigfoot community over the years, and really nobody's ever been able to debunk it.
How often do you hear people having sightings of Bigfoot in Pennsylvania?
It really all depends the season, and if people feel like sharing their encounters. Usually around this time, once you get into hunting season, until about early spring, sometime in March, you don't get a lot of activity, but activity seems to pick up early spring until late spring, kind of dies off in the winter or in the, heat of the summer. And that early part of fall, right until right before hunting season, it kind of picks up a lot. But what I've come to find out with our investigations that we've done is what happens is you get a lead off of a tip that somebody had a sighting, somebody gets in contact with you that they had a sighting in a specific area. You go out, you do an investigation of that area, you look for evidence. We would post our evidence on the Facebook page and a write-up of what we did. And sometimes depending how that investigation did over social media, you would maybe get 1 to 15 more stories from that exact location of people having experiences.
And you did say Pennsylvania is third in the nation?
Right. Like just a whiff of an encounter. You post the investigation and somebody might tag a friend of theirs like, hey, that explains this one, what happened this one time. And you kind of commented on it. Hey, send us a private message to let us know. Maybe you never hear back from them. Maybe you get a nice story about it, but at least that lends credibility to that initial investigation that you just did, that this person had a sighting. Now all of a sudden I have anywhere from 2 people to 15 people that also had similar type experiences in and around that general area.
So when you go out to look for Bigfoot, what exactly do you just run off into the woods, or is there like a plan?
Uh, Usually there is no plan. um, what I usually do is, you know, I'll talk to that person, get an idea or the exact location of where their sighting happened. Hopefully it's, a piece of public land that we could go on, whether it's state parks, state forests, state game lands, or, get permission to be in that area if it's a private area.
Mhm.
Um,
So what
if
do you do
not,
when you go into the woods? What are you looking for? What would you find?
what I'm looking for is anything that looks out of place and not natural. Bigfoots are known to make weird stick structures and stick formations that look completely, not natural. To me, it's kind of like a Bigfoot version of a highway exit sign. Imagine you're traveling down 81 and, the exit sign for food here, water here. Well, it's kind of like a Bigfoot version of a highway exit sign, or it could be a way to mark their territory. But what it ends up being is a lot of sticks put together in a weird, random way that a human or nature wouldn't do.
And you've seen, and this is like across the board. What Bigfoots usually do is arrange sticks or other things in a certain way.
Right.
Okay.
And there's no rhyme or reason of the way they arrange them, but it's in a way that's not a natural, windfall or snowfall from over the winter, or not someone's hunting blind. That there were times where being out on an investigation in the woods, you walk by, you go, oh my God, that's a stick structure. You walk in and it's somebody's hunting blind. You see their, seed in there, you see cigarette butts, you see peanut shells, and okay, it's a hunting blind. Or there's other times that you walk by and you go, what the heck is this and why is this here?
Right. Right. Something weird and unnatural and not supposed to be there.
Right. Being that my former group, Pennsylvania Bigfoot Investigations, we are now on indefinite hiatus. I guess you would consider myself an independent researcher at the time, but if anybody's looking to get involved with Bigfoot research or speak to like-minded individuals, there's 2 open Facebook groups you could request to join. One is Pennsylvania Sasquatch Research, and the other is the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project. All you got to do is, look them up on Facebook, request to join, and in each group, there's over 1,000 like-minded individuals that post stories and post personal investigations they've done, and it's a great way to connect with like-minded individuals and find people in your local area that you can go out and do a Bigfoot investigation with.
Okay, I got one more question. This is a big one.
All right.
Okay, what do you think the future holds? Are we ever going to find Bigfoot? Is flesh and blood, like you said?
Oh man, one day we will. It's like catching lightning in a bottle, and I always say I want to be that guy to catch lightning in a bottle. When you look at Pennsylvania as a whole, outside of your more urban areas like your Philadelphia and your Pittsburghs and your Harrisburgs, and a lot of Pennsylvania is woods and farmland. I mean, you go
Mm-hmm.
up into the northern tier of Pennsylvania up to like Tioga and Potter County, and there's tracts of land where nobody has set foot on in 100 years, if ever. And I mean, I'm out of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton area myself, and I always say that even though we're in a more urban area, I could go 15 minutes in either direction of where I live and have an area where I could go on a Bigfoot investigation or where there's been a sighting before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about trying to catch that lightning in a bottle. And 99% of the time when you do an investigation, you're really not going to find anything more than having a great hike in the woods. But it's that, one, maybe two pieces of evidence that you find a year that keeps you coming back and looking for more. Pennsylvania, and here in Northeast Pennsylvania, is definitely a fantastic Bigfoot habitat. As far as Bigfoot sightings go, here in Northeastern Pennsylvania is definitely a hidden gem. You hear a lot about sightings out in the, western part of the state, out in the Alleghenies and out that way. But here in Northeastern Pennsylvania, in doing this the 7 years that I've been doing it, I've collected about 40 to 50 Bigfoot sightings right here in Northeastern Pennsylvania. So if you're looking to do a Bigfoot investigation, anywhere here in Northeast PA is a great area. Or, with everything that's going on, if you're looking for a fun family activity to get outdoors, take your kids out on a hike and look for Bigfoot evidence. Even if you don't find anything, you had a great time in the woods.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, if you don't find Bigfoot, at least you got out of the house and a nice day to do a little hiking, because the weather's still beautiful. Get out.
Absolutely.
Pennsylvania is a wonderful place.
It is.